Bollywood actor Nawazuddin Siddiqui in a recent interview poked fun at the work processes in Bollywood and in a rather arrogant way remarked that English-speaking actors and filmmakers think that they can make authentic films in Hindi. Speaking at the special session named Aspiration to Action at Times Network India Economic Conclave last Saturday, Nawaz mouthed a lengthy monologue where he tried to present himself as a damsel in distress who was continuously being run over by the English-speaking biggies of the Bollywood. And welcome to TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm Tanya and I'm here to explain you why Nawazuddin Siddiqui should stop acting around as he's not the only actor in Bollywood. Let's begin. Nawaz, in the video snippet that has since went viral, said,
वो है ना, आप हिंदी में फिल्म बना रहे हो लेकिन डायरेक्टर भी असिस्टेंट भी सारे इंग्लिश में बात कर रहे हैं और एक्टर की समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा क्या या यू कैन डू इट यू नो यू विल कम हियर एंड देन यू विल गो देयर एंड एक्टर की समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या बस सीधा सीधा बोल देना यार उससे क्या हो परफॉर्मेंस पे असर पड़ता है.
He compared the Hindi film industry to the Tamil or Kannada film industry and said that
जैसे साउथ का एक अच्छी बात है, साउथ में क्या तमिल में बात करते हैं, प्राउड फील करते हैं, कन्नड़ है कन्नड़ प्राउड फील करते हैं. अब सारे वहां पे राइटर्स वो भी कन्नड़ में बात कर रहे हैं, जो स्क्रीन प्ले राइटर वो भी कन्नड़ है ना, जो सारे लोकल हैं, जो आपका मेकअप कर रहा है वो भी वहीं का है, सब हर मतलब डायरेक्टर भी कन्नड़ में बात कर रहा है, तमिल में बात कर रहा है या मलयाली में बात कर रहा है, तो उनका जो माहौल बनता है ना वो डेफिनेटली कुछ ना कुछ तो क्रिएट होगा ना उनका. सबको समझ में आ रहा है सबकी बातें.
However, what Nawaz failed to recount was the fact that Bollywood, despite struggling in recent times, is still seen as the final frontier of aspiring filmmakers, artists and behind-the-scenes crew. They all want to work in the Hindi film industry, thus when they gather around to produce a movie, it is a melting pot of different identities, cultures and languages. Not everyone in the crew comes from the Hindi-speaking belt and not everyone is comfortable speaking Hindi. Just because a Hindi film is being made, it doesn't necessarily mean that Hindi needs to be espoused continuously on the set. Whatever helps the crew get the work done efficiently is the language that needs to be used. Moreover, an established actor like Nawaz does not have to deal with the backroom staff a lot, barring the few odd assistant directors, the director and the producers. He can easily tell them to walk him through the stuff in Hindi if he feels overwhelmed by English. While it may look like Nawaz is doing the God's work by promoting Hindi, a little context is required to understand where truly Nawaz is coming from. After all, you rarely see an established actor go on a tirade like this generalizing the entire industry. As reported by TFI in October last year, Nawazuddin had remarked that OTT platforms had become a dhanda for big production houses. Announcing that he was quitting the streaming platforms for good, Nawaz also called the online platforms a dumping ground for redundant shows.
300 करोड़ ले रहे हैं और 40 करोड़ में सीरीज बना रहे हैं. इट्स लाइक मतलब टीवी सीरियल में बुराई नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बट वो बहुत ही हमारे यहाँ एक कोई किसी चीज़ की शुरुआत बहुत अच्छी होती है लेकिन बाद में उन्हें पूरा धंधा बन जाता है.
The Bollywood actor added, it's become a dhanda for big production houses and actors. Major film producers in Bollywood have cut lucrative deals with all the big players in the OTT field. Producers get whopping amounts to create unlimited content. He mentioned that the excitement and challenge that he had experienced when he worked in the Sacred Games had evaporated. He also targeted the big Bollywood stars for hogging the OTT space which once was his sole territory. When I can't bear to watch them, how can I bear to be in them? Yes, star system बड़े पर्दे को खा गया. This star system killed the big screen. Now we have so-called stars on OTT claiming big money and throwing tantrums like Bollywood A-listers. They forget content is king. वो ज़माना चला गया when stars ruled. Before this lockdown and digital domination, A-listers would release their films in 3,000 theaters across the country. People had no choice but to see them. Now they have unlimited choices. It is pertinent to note that Sacred Games was the first Netflix Indian original which gained national as well as international acclaim after release. At the time, OTT platforms were dubbed as a space where struggling has-beens and B-lister actors plied their trade. Nawazuddin was still not counted amongst the top stars of the industry despite giving a plethora of powerful performances in the Hindi movies. However, the success of Sacred Games changed the equations overnight. The disses started flocking the streaming platforms, and soon the A-listers of Bollywood understood the power that OTT platforms held in the palm of their hands. The advent of a global pandemic only hastened the process, and big Bollywood stars descended onto the space, from Ajay Devgan to Abhishek Bachchan to R. Madhavan. Several big Bollywood names moved to the digital space and have already carved an identity for themselves on these platforms. The likes of Nawazuddin and their novelty factor have worn off. Nawaz, through his routine outbursts, is suggesting that the Bollywood industry is coming for his place. It feels as if Nawaz wants to say that Bollywood hid him for years. However, when he had his moment in the sun through the OTT platforms, the big actor descended together to snatch it all away from his once again. Nawaz appears to be under the delusion that he is the only actor that is still connected to the roots. However, the truth cannot be far from it. Actors like Pankaj Tripathi and Sanjay Mishra have long been in the circuit and are far more versatile when it comes to acting job. However, you wouldn't see them cursing the very industry that made them big or the people that work behind the scenes. Nawaz is the same actor who had refused to take criticism in his stride after second season of Sacred Games spectacularly bombed. Nawaz at the time had remarked, "Who are these people? I only take criticism from people who are of my standard. Today, every second person is there to criticize. Yes, I know the show got a little boring, but these people criticizing, do they have knowledge of cinema? I can take criticism when the person has equal or more knowledge of cinema. Won't listen to any era gera nathu khera. Anyone criticizes today, I am a trained actor, I do not take criticism from anyone." The entire monologue by Nawaz reeked of arrogance and elitism. OTT is not his heirloom. The audience will watch whatever it likes. Moreover, the language barrier is the last thing that an actor should let get in the way of his craft. It is advisable for Nawaz that he steps back, analyzes statements, and come to the reality that he has to compete with the biggies as well. He is not the underdog anymore, and trying to emotionally manipulate the audience can only take him so far.